Melinda, please feel free to let people in. But we're gonna start the webinar, and I'm very excited to have Graham with us, Tyler and Mary. I'm very, very excited. So we're just gonna focus today, and there is a short video introducing the center that I'm gonna play right now.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship. It's the light bulb moment from your first big idea. It's the decision to set out on a new path. It's the realization that entrepreneurship starts with a spark, and that spark starts here. At the Stu Clark Center, we're here to nurture your ideas and help spark your entrepreneurial spirit. How? How about competitive opportunities to free your inner entrepreneur? Advice from venture coaches who have walked the walk. Or some of the best networking events you'll find on campus. You'll find it all right here. By focusing on education, awareness, community, coaching, connection, we build strong relationships with our students and do everything we can to help them on their journey to self-starting. At the Stu Clark Center, we thrive when you thrive. No idea is too big or too small. The Stu Clark Center is your one-stop shop for everything you need to start your journey. So why not start today?
Perfect. Why not start today? I really like that sentence, because there's no time to start. You can start anytime. And I'm just going to quickly introduce myself. My name is Karen Bado. I am the venture coach here at the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship. I have been working for the past years as a financial officer for the World Trade Center, Winnipeg, and a financial analyst for CBC French Services. I have over 7 years of experience in accounting and financial strategy. I also work with women entrepreneurs, BIPOC entrepreneurs wanting to start to launch their venture. And I am a free resource here on campus for anyone across faculty. It doesn't matter where you stand in your journey. I'm here to answer all your questions and to guide you in your journey as an entrepreneur. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I own and operate several ventures, one with my sisters and one as a business consultant, and there's still one in development. So I would love to get to know you. If you have any questions, again, you can book a meeting with me. Everything is pretty self-explanatory on the website. You go on there, you create a startup account, and my calendar is also synced with the system, so you will be able to set up a meeting with me that way. And I am not alone. We have a wonderful team here at the center working to spark the entrepreneurial spirit. We have Deborah Jonathan-Young, our director, Lindsay Friesen, the marketing coordinator, Amy Jones, program coordinator, and Melinda, our office administrator. We are all here to hold your hand and guide you in your journey. So do not hesitate to reach out to either one of us, and we will love to answer your question and point you to the right direction. Also, we have our last webinar coming up May 17th. And we all know that this is the season for students to enter the marketplace and start looking for jobs, start looking for placement. And I think this webinar is not to be missed. We will have a panel as well, HR expert coming to share a few tips how you can prepare yourself, to tell you exactly what is out there for you and how you can grow your skills and enter your opportunity, your dream job, or maybe dream co-op for some of the students that are just looking for a training or like a very specific time frame in terms of work. So go ahead and register for that one. With no further ado, we have our 3 panelists here with us. We have Graham Taylor from Rogue Processing, Mwaura from Zara Naturals, and Tyler Phill from My Student Wellbeing. We are very excited to have them here. They are all students from University of Manitoba. And I had the privilege to work with each of one of them, and they accomplished so many successes throughout the year. And I'm very honored to have them with us today. And briefly, I'm just gonna introduce our first panelist. His name is Graham. And Graham is very passionate by entrepreneurship. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's currently enrolled in the MBA program at Asper School with his major in entrepreneurship and innovation. And he's actually the first Asper student winning the New Venture Championship in 14 years. So he is our winner, and we are pretty excited to see him and follow very closely his journey as he ventured to launch his business. And his company is dedicating to cannabis co-packing and really helping grower and producer package their product in a safely and efficient way. So Graham is our first panelist for today, and we are very excited to have him. Our second panelist is, her name is Maryiddah Mwaura, and I really appreciate the freshness that she brings with her perspective and her, like a diversity and different ways to see the world and the creativity. And she's a Faculty of Science student majoring in microbiology, and she's involved in entrepreneurship. She managed 2 small businesses that we cannot wait to hear more about. And she loves dancing. She works out. She's enjoying self-care movement. So that's a little bit of the background. Thanks again, Maria, for being with us today. We really appreciate you. And Tyler, like I am so excited to present Tyler because we've been working with him. He has shown resilience and passion and tenacity. He actually enrolled in so many business competition and was able to place at a few of them. He is currently as well a MBA Asper student. And prior to that, he graduated with a Bachelor of Social Work from Lakehead University. And he is passionate about mental health, advocating for mental health for students and really growing that community. So those are our 3 panelists. And with no further ado, I'm gonna let you guys introduce yourself. Feel free to turn on your mic, and we can start with Mary. Please, can you please quickly tell us what your business idea is about? And you know, we want to hear from your own word what you think of yourself as an entrepreneur.
Guys, thank you for this platform. I appreciate so much. Yeah, as my name is Mary. I run 2 little small businesses. I run a nail business which deals with press-ons and jewelry, but I also run Zuria Naturals, which is a hair company that's based on, its product is based on hair porosity, which is basically how your hair is able to retain and maintain moisture. That's just a little gist of what the company is about.
Oh, thank you so much. And how about you, Tyler? Can you tell us about your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me here. So my Student Wellbeing is an online platform. It's a website right now where college and university students in Canada can go and find a private therapist to receive help from. So students have student insurance that they're opted into, and our platform is aligned with those insurance plans. So we take the thinking and the complexity of using insurance out of it. And all you have to do is say, I'm a University of Manitoba student, and we'll say, this is how much coverage you have for mental health services. These are the practitioners that you can see, because some plans, you have to see a psychologist. Some plans allow for social workers, some allow for counselors. We take care of all of that. We've looked into it. So we want to have a large enough platform where a student can jump on anytime, get help much faster than some free services which have long wait times, and actually choose who they talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to be getting this off the ground.
Wow, that is so needed, like on campus. Like I mean, great idea, Tyler. How about you, Graham? Can you tell us about your business idea? your business actually?
Thanks, Corinne. Yeah, I think I need some Zuria natural hair products myself. I need something to bring out the curls. So I'm Graham Taylor. My business is Rogue Processing, and as Corinne mentioned, it is a company that provides packaging services to cannabis growers who currently are not able to do this service themselves under their current license. And so they're having to ship their bulk product out of province to have the service done. And then that product is finished out of province and shipped individually back to Manitoba retailers. So it's a really inefficient supply chain that's racking up a lot of unnecessary shipping costs. And I partnered with a grower. A friend of mine started a cannabis growing operation that I invested a little bit of money in, and asked them to sort of keep an eye out for an opportunity for myself to get directly involved. And that's how I got this idea to essentially create the first co-packing facility in Manitoba that can serve this company that I'm partnered with, as well as all the other small companies that are currently shipping their product out of province.
Wow, those are great ideas. And my second question is, how did you did you come up with the idea? Because we always think about entrepreneurship, a problem, a solution. But I really want to hear the story, like what brought you to a place of decision to say, okay, I think I should run with that idea. This is something that I can definitely make a business out of it. And Graham, we can start with you on that one.
Sure. Well, I'll just expand. So I sort of mentioned a bit about how I came into the idea. And I think what I would add to it and kind of tie in my experience with Stu Clark New Venture Championship, because one of the, I had done up a business plan and the wheels were sort of already in motion on the business when I connected with the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship, as well as this championship event. And one thing that I hadn't really done properly was the validation, the market validation. So, we had this idea, but we didn't know whether it was a good idea. And so because I got involved with this competition, I was forced to do a better job of validating market. And that's when, it sort of became even clearer that yes, indeed, there is a market for this. And so that's how, it sort of became cemented that this was a good avenue to follow.
Oh, that's great. But were you involved in the cannabis industry before, or just?
No, I was not. So I came from the restaurant industry. I spent over 10 years as an entrepreneur and was just feeling a bit burnt out, wanting a change. And so I sold my locations. And I'd, been watching the explosive growth within the cannabis industry. And a good friend of mine that I met in university had been working on this startup for many years. And I found myself in a position to help get them off the ground. And the more I learned about the industry, the more I saw, so many different great opportunities. And this venture is kind of the one I landed on. But, every month we come across kind of new avenues that we could pursue.
Okay, that's great. How about you, Tyler? How did you come up with putting together a platform to help students with their mental health?
It's a really good question. And so my undergrad is in social work, and I always had kind of the passion, the drive to be part of an organization which does some sort of good in society, where I could wake up each day knowing that I'm spending my time to make a difference. And I started to hear about long wait times on campus. I had friends who wouldn't get help. They would just give up because they didn't know how to navigate the mental health system or these different services, or it's complicated. And I said, well, can I make something which can kind of fill this gap to make it more easy to navigate? And I started my MBA in 2017, and I was a full-time student at that time. And I was opted into the student insurance plan. And I was like, oh, what is this insurance plan? Because I knew nothing about it personally. And I saw that it had 100% mental health care coverage.
Wow.
And I said, there's people waiting for free services and they're not using this insurance. So I'm going to create something which can bridge this gap. And I made sure to look at every little angle, and I've made something that works. And now it's full steam forward to try and get students the help that they need and reduce those wait times.
Wow. I mean, that's a good way to really fix a problem, right? Like having that connection with the student and people coming up to you and saying, okay, we can access that service, even with the insurance. It's very inspiring to see that sometimes people are thinking, okay, how can I come up with a business idea? But I always say your experience of life can be a great inspiration and can be a good way to start, thinking of ideas on how you can even better your own life experience. So that's very inspiring what you just shared. And Mary, how about you? How did you come up with like a hair care line for women or for men as well, right? For both.
It's for everyone.
For everyone.
Yeah. I think mine started with a question. Somebody that was very close to me asked me, if I was not doing what I'm studying in school, what would I do? And I was just like, oh, hair and nails, like every typical girl, but I didn't think much of it. And the person was like, you know what, I'll be the first one to invest in you. And I was just like, what? Like, it's just like a mere idea. I don't have like any start or anything. Progressively, a friend of mine started asking, and I think after that, I started thinking about like entrepreneurship, and I was like, oh, maybe I could actually do it. Then a friend of mine reached out and she was like, oh, let's do this thing together. And we started working on our nails and jewelry business. So after that, I was like, okay, this is going pretty well for us as a first liner. And now I'm starting to understand the market, the business overall and how it works. And I was like, so I ended up struggling with my hair a little bit because I kind of cut it and I dyed it. And I was super frustrated because everything that I knew that was working was not working for me anymore. And the frustration just made me just start searching things, little things like, what does aloe vera do to my hair? What does this do to my hair? So instead, I just went to my kitchen and I started combining all these things together to see what I'm going to end up with. And that helped quite a bit. So I was like, if I'm struggling with this, somebody else out there is also struggling with it. And my friends were complaining about the same things, even if it was not because they chemically dyed their hair. It could be just because of environmental factors, such as like crazy winters, because it makes our hair dry. So I was like, okay, let's just try this together. And I would give my friend a little portion. And I'm like, okay, can we just see whether this works? And yeah, progressively it did. It worked for us. So I was like, you know what, there's an opportunity. I was part of a student group. It's called Entrepreneurship Mindset. It was a new group. So with that, they were like, oh, you guys submit business ideas, and based on those ideas, we can progress. Then they ended up picking my idea. I didn't think it was a good idea. And then they picked it up and I was like, oh, okay. Now it made me actually work on the idea, which has led me to here so far. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
That's a good perspective to say, okay, you know what, maybe having feedback is not that dramatic, because I think sometimes entrepreneurs are very secretive about what they're doing. They just like, okay, I'm just going to work on it and present it when I'm done. When actually having feedbacks in the early stage is so important, right? Because you can think in your head that, okay, there is this problem that I will be answering, but maybe there's no problem, or maybe the problem is already being answered by current what we will call later on competitor. Like maybe there's no really real problem, and you just like see having feedback will help you maybe arrange your idea, or maybe think about something else, or go back and rework the idea. So I think having that perspective from you is very important. Like you don't have to keep everything secret. Sometimes sharing an idea with people that you trust and people who know you as a person can be helpful as well, because they can see you also carrying that idea. right?
Yeah.
So that's a great story. That's a great story. Now I know you all worked on your executive summary and business plan, because those are the two documents that when you apply for the competition, even our business competition here at the Stu Clark Center, we do require the contestant to submit an executive summary. And when you are qualified, then we are asking for the business plan. So how did the whole process go for you? Because I know people always are threatened when they hear business plan. It's just like, what is this? So I just want to hear your experience with that. Like, did you had any challenges when writing your business plan, and what were those challenges? And we're going to start with Graham.
Thank you. So I'm a big fan of the business plan, and you know, I have had the opportunity to talk to a lot of, you know, prospective entrepreneurs that have got great ideas or business ideas they want to pursue. And that's always where I tell them to start, because if you can't commit and dedicate yourself to even creating a business plan, then there's no way you're going to have that dedication to run a business. So it's sort of the first, you know, litmus test for an entrepreneur. And so if you can commit to creating that business plan, you know, you're going to learn so much more about your business idea. And, you know, there's all these other avenues that maybe some you might be weaker on, whether it's sort of the, you know, the legal aspect or the marketing aspect. And it forces you to kind of address that and create a plan and follow a model. So for myself, and the challenge with the business plan is I work really slowly, and there were certain constraints within the competition. And so it was, you know, I found that I was spending a ton of time, and I treated, you know, the competition that I took part in, I treated it kind of like a course, and I dedicated the same amount of time that I would if I was taking a course. And so even then I found that, you know, I was spending a ton of time and just trying to tweak it and overhaul it, because I did have a big business plan before that was not as efficient and finely tuned as the one that ultimately that I had to submit. But yeah, it's business plans are, I think, absolutely crucial. And I know there's statistics out there on how much more likely you are to be successful if you have a business plan. And I absolutely understand why, and encourage everyone to write a business plan.
Wow, that's good. That's why I have a job. How about you, Tyler? Like, what was the process for you writing a business plan and going through all that jazz?
I am not a numbers guy, and I thought of my business idea from every other aspect, like in detail. I had the marketing stuff taken care of. I looked into the legal stuff, the regulations, the operations, everything. But I was so resistant to doing the financial projections because, one, that's not my strong suit. I'm a social worker as a background. I've learned in the MBA, and I've definitely developed my financial skills, but they're not very strong. Mm-hmm. So I can also be a bit of a perfectionist. So here I am trying to do these, you know, 3-year projections, and like, oh, I don't like how this flows, and this is connected to this, and this is connected to this, and I don't fully understand like the tax implications of this. So I have to go look into like tax law and tax regulation, because I really want to understand like how all of it ties together. So fortunately, I had some people that I could, you know, run that by and discuss, and the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship was part of that, as they reviewed the business plan and gave some guidance there. But I kind of leveraged my support system and people who were more suited for finance to help me kind of understand that. So that was the main thing, is the finances and the projections. But I wouldn't say that should shy anyone away from entering a competition or trying to do a business plan or a business. because there are so many resources out there to support you as you develop. Your peers, professors, Stu Clark Center, there's other organizations out there. So, if you're not strong with numbers and you're not from, a business background or something, don't let that keep you from moving forward.
Wow, I mean that's so great. All I can hear is just like resilience. It's just I'm not comfortable doing this, but I'm going to learn and I'm going to do this. And I think that's really the mindset, like the mindset that we try to encourage everyone who's interested to entrepreneurship to grow and have. How about you, Mary? I know you also wrote your business plan and you prepared your presentation. How did that go for you?
I think for me, I'm the least skilled when it came to like the business plan aspect of it. I think you can have an idea in your head, but like actually putting it down on paper is super duper hard. I struggled when it came to the financial, the same way Tyler suffered. Also, I struggled with the operational plan aspect of the business plan, just because as much as I had the idea and I was looking at like different aspect of it, I didn't know the nitty gritty of every single detail that's needed. So packaging, marketing, like all those things, just to make sure that whatever price that you're putting your product at has to make sense, because eventually as an entrepreneur, you have to make profit. That's the main point of it. As much as you're serving a need, you have to make profit. How do you incur that profit in the process? I think that to me was one of the hardest things, but thank you to Karine, because I used to be at her office probably twice a week on meetings, and she did a great job at directing me or like giving me suggestions. And she's like, why don't you look into this, and that? And it really, really, really helped. For the financials, I also got outside help as well, because I'm not in the business world at all. I'm a science student. So me having to write a business plan, a balance sheet, all those things, for me, they were all new. So I had to actually seek out like extra resource. But we're still learning. So that's the beauty of this whole thing. It's a lot of patience, but it pays off.
That's great. And I think that you guys did amazing because you all qualify at least for the semifinals because you were picked. And based on your executive summary, we had everything we were looking for in terms of quality, how you defined the problem and you came up with the solution. Market validation was properly conducted. Like you had so much consistency and proof to back up every ideas that you came up with. And I think that's a plus. And that's what most judges and even investors, or if you're writing your business plan for the purpose of funding, I think that's what people are looking for. They really want to see that like there was an effort in validating, in talking to people and getting the numbers exact, so that they feel confident enough to lend you money or to invest in your business. So you all succeeded in my eyes. And I'm just going to ask you, since we are talking about the competition, I would like to know what is your takeaway from competing at the Stu Clark Center New Venture Championship? I just want to know, because it's a competition. And, how did you guys feel? What is your intake from competing with others university from the state, from other provinces in Canada? So Mariah, you can start.
Sorry, could you repeat the question really quickly?
The question is, you attended, you competed at the new championship venture, right? And I just want to know, how did you feel about it after that? What is your intake from attending that competition?
I think the biggest one that I think I was super grateful, because it was a challenge. It was a huge challenge.
But what was the challenge?
I think for me, I'm not a public speaker. So being able to actually communicate an idea and being able to portray the idea the way you think about it in your head was kind of the biggest challenge for me. Number two, it was, I think that idea of like competing. So it's like, you don't know, like there's already like you're given a set of expectations on what they expect, but you having that, I don't know, like I get very nervous when it comes to speaking. So making sure that you execute every single thing that they have presented to you is kind of very nerve-wracking, but yeah, it was a good challenge. It was a really good challenge. I think I would advise anybody to actually go through it, as much as it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, sometimes for me, I did have like the night before, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, which is a bad idea. But yeah, I think it's okay going through it because it teaches you so much, like super, like a lot of patience, a lot of resilience, a lot of, you realize like whatever you're trying to achieve is actually worth it at the very end of the day. Because if you're not putting any work to anything that you're very passionate about, or you're very interested in, you realize at that particular point, it's either for you or against you. And at that point, I was like, yeah, if I'm going for this, I will have to go for it all the way through. So yeah.
Wow, wow, that's inspiring. Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Graham?
For me, I would say, two points. It was a massive confidence booster because as passionate as you are about an idea and as confident as you may be about an idea, there's still all this risk and uncertainty and self-doubt. So to, make it each stage of that competition and receive that, validation that your idea is a good one and that you have a good plan was, a huge relief. And as I mentioned, validating would be the second point. Myself, my undergrad was in psychology, and my career experience was as a franchisee. So I was following someone else's business plan. So to be able to present this plan that you've developed in this arena that's all about entrepreneurship, and to have that success is validating that you can come up with a good idea, you can develop it, and that you're in the right place. So for me, it was it was a huge relief. And I, like many people, will sort of struggle with that imposter syndrome, where you're kind of and so I think finally I was like, okay, yes, this this is a good plan, and I can, obviously there's still a lot of work ahead of me and a lot of risk, but if all these accomplished people can look at this idea and the plan and give it a thumbs up, then thank goodness that I'm not heading somewhere that I don't want to go down. So for me, it was really validating for myself personally, just as an entrepreneur, and it was a huge kind of confidence booster that this is a good path.
Wow. I mean, yeah, validation from expert, from successful entrepreneur. And we even had Stu Clark there for the graduate as a judge. So I get the sense that it was very empowering for you. How about you, Tyler? I know you did a lot of business competition, and I've watched you coming back and saying, hey, I'm qualified for the next round. Hey, I'm winning. I won third place at the Apex. And how was it for you to compete with other people?
It was really exciting. I love competitions in terms of the connections that I can make with other student entrepreneurs. So when I've entered some of these competitions, if I know their names, and online, a lot of people don't like online for a lot of reasons. I like it because I can go and find the list of participants and go find them on LinkedIn and then connect with them and just start to build up, these connections with other student entrepreneurs. And, I was in one competition that was, every week there's a new pitch, and, I'd cheer on with other people. We connected early on and just super supportive the whole time. So I really like, connecting with other people. In terms of the competitions, kind of going off what Mary said in terms of communicating the idea. So, we know our idea, or we should know our idea, but we know it really well. And if it's kind of complicated, or if there's some, unique aspects to it, you could write a business plan, but in your mind, it makes sense. But to somebody who's never heard your business before, they may not understand it. And one of the criticisms I got throughout the competitions is, we read your business plan and we had a lot of questions from it. I was like, I thought it was great. It made perfect sense in my mind, but from a first-time viewer. So again, you can definitely leverage the resources that you have, like the people that you work with. But once they hear your idea once, there's still a great support. But if you really want to see if you're communicating your idea clearly, after you make revisions to your business plan, your idea, try and find somebody who's never heard it before and try and pitch it to them and see if they can really understand what you're trying to get across. And if you can't, then you want to go back and try and revise it.
Wow, like I wasn't even thinking about the perspective of leveraging the relationship. Like even with the judges, it's an opportunity to give someone a follow on LinkedIn and keep growing and keep learning and connecting with people, because at the end of the day, you are selling something, right? So I think coming into the business plan competition with that mindset of saying, I want people to buy what I'm selling is such a great way to see this, because then you are coming with the mind of selling. And that's the whole exercise of pitching your business. And it takes practice. Like I remember Graham sending me 5 videos every day. No, I'm kidding. Not 5 videos every day, but a lot of videos to review. And it takes practice. And to see that you, Maria, Graham, and Tyler, you didn't shy away from the challenge. Like you said, Mary, you gave 100% of yourself through this process is the way to go with it. Because even if you're not placing, even if you do not end up with winning, it's still winning, because you come out of it so strong with your mindset. You know how to speak to people, and it is intimidating to speak to higher managers and build that confidence in front of people, in front of experts. It's just like, it's a win. So I always say to anyone who is interested in applying, I say, you know what? Yes, you can win something. Yes, you can come out with some cash prize, but you are going to win regardless, because of the experience and how mature you will come out of this journey. So I'm very happy to hear that it was a great challenge, and hopefully you will keep competing, because we always get these communication from other universities, and we keep sending them your way. So hopefully that can continue for you as well. So I'm just going to ask you, what is the next for your venture? I know, Graham, you are currently waiting for your license. Do you have any date in mind as per when you will start packaging goods?
Yeah, well, we're expecting to receive our license in May or June. And there was another step to the licensing process that we were going to have to work through to be fully licensed in our mind. Unfortunately, during the time I've been waiting for my license, Health Canada walked that requirement back. And so when we receive our initial license, we are going to be fully licensed and off to the races. So yeah, rogue processing is happening, and yeah, we expect to receive our license. We're lining up business. So yeah, we're going to be rolling out this summer in full operation.
That's great. How about you, Tyler?
I am super excited to share that I am probably going live today or tomorrow.
Wow.
So it's
Amazing.
all set up. I have a therapist ready to go who's ready to take bookings. So it's just checking the system one last time to make sure there's no, the flow works really well. Got a second therapist that'll be live in the next probably week or so. I'm already recruiting for therapists across the country to extend it to other
Wow.
provinces. So now it's promoting it to the platform to let students know that they have this insurance coverage, or they might if they haven't opted out, and to help them understand what level of coverage they have. So, can they attend 5 sessions, 10 sessions for free, or free? The insurance is covering it, but they don't have to pay out of pocket, which really reduces the barrier for a student to go get help and to reach out to a therapist, a private therapist. So doing a little plug. So anybody visit the website,
Absolutely.
mystudentwellbeing.ca, share it with your peers, because they might need the help as well. And now it's content creation, promotion. Yeah, so it's a really exciting time.
Wow.
A year's
That's
worth of work
great.
finally ready to go forward. So
That is great. And I know sometimes with like a web app, you really have to do it. There's no other way, right? You need to get in a space where people have to start creating profile, and you have to keep rolling tight, and maybe if there's any glitch, just keep improving the system, keep improving the platform. But it's so great that you're already launching today. I mean, that's a success. That is a success, Tyler. And I wish you all the best. It's probably gonna be a busy summer. I'm not even sure when we're gonna have summer here in Winnipeg, because it's supposed to snow. So maybe I will sign up for your on your platform, because I need to speak to someone. I am very I'm very low right now with the weather and everything changing. I think it's such a great survey that you're putting out there with the pandemic. People need therapy. We need therapy. So again, congratulations on your success. How about you, Mary? Can you tell us about your 2 businesses? How is it going?
It's going. The first one is going great. The Zria right now is on pause just because I have school and finals. But we'll be back. I'm praying that we launch a little bit in July or August. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. Everything is in place, like in terms of like production and everything. I have most of the equipment that I need. I just have to actually now put it into the production system and actually put it back to put it out to the market. Yeah, and for Tyler, I really appreciate the platform. I think I'll be among the first people to sign up on that platform. Just an FYI, but yeah, I'm excited for Zuria. I think bringing out the products is very scary in a way, because it's something new and you don't know what people are gonna like analyze it to be. But I think it will be a great product, furthermore for the fall and the winter sessions where a lot of us struggle heavily with our hair. I think it will be a great platform for sure. So yeah.
And that's amazing. I think that I'm running a company with my sister, and it's a skincare, and we are BIPOC entrepreneurs, and there's such a specific need for diversity now in entrepreneurship, because there is a market that is still not well served. And I was very excited when I saw your application. I was just, I think she's doing something for curly hair, and I'm not even going to talk about my hair today. I would not.
It's okay. I told you I'll hook you up one of these days. Yeah, I got you.
Yes, please put your product online for the rest of us.
Yeah, sure.
Because we definitely need product like yours on available to everyone, and to the BIPOC community, to the Black people, and being able to care for ourselves as well. So that's great. And I have one question. If you have to give me 3 words about your journey, right? Your journey as an entrepreneur. I'll give you maybe 10 seconds to think about 3 words to express when you think about your journey. Can you come up with those words? I'm gonna start with, I think Graham probably has already those 3 words somewhere.
Now we're on the spot now. Well, yeah, I think I would probably repeat the two from the
Yeah.
takeaway from the Stu Clark New Venture Championship, which is, confidence and validation. I would say that it's, the last one essentially would just, have that, I would say, resourceful. I would say having the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship and kind of knowing that I can always come back and get more information and support is another, big takeaway from this journey. I learned way more about that. This was my first foray into the support from that center, and now have gotten to know the coaches and understand how valuable all of you are. And so I'm grateful that I'll have that resource going forward in whatever situation I encounter next.
Okay, thank you so much. How about you, Tyler? I mean, I said 3, but I just want to hear, your when you think about your journey, if there's any skill you gain, right?
Yep. For 3 words, I would say exciting to start with that big hopeful idea, and then nerve-wracking with all that has to be done and trying to figure out the legalities of things because law is kind of scary. And then fulfilling to see it actually all kind of come through and the connections you make. And when you see yourself starting to make progress, it's just this fulfillment of, I've done all of this, I built this thing, because nobody else is building it for you as an entrepreneur. It's, you wake up today and you can spend an hour on it, you can spend 16 hours on it, and nobody else is really holding you accountable, unless maybe you have investors. But as a starting up your own thing, it's all on you. So you're going to move forward as quick as you're willing to do and as much work as you're willing to do. But some people love that, and I love it, and I love what I'm doing. So it's really exciting.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, the excitement of launching today. Wow. Like I can't even think about that, but yeah, it's good to know. How about you, Mary?
I think I agree with both Tyler and Graham. But for me, it's also reaching out, like seeking all resources. I'm like, there's so many resources out there. Ventures to Crack. Furthermore, Karine is a great coach and she's really good at it. So reach out, reach in. So basically take care of yourself. Like, self-care is very important. If you feel the need for it, like sometimes you just get mentally tired or even just physically tired, check yourself often. And honestly, and because whenever you reach into yourself, you build that confidence, and that confidence exudes in everything you do. Because trust me, entrepreneurship is tiring half of the time. The same way Tyler said, you can literally spend 2-3 days on something, on one specific thing, on as part of your whatever you're trying to accomplish, versus sometimes you can just spend an hour and it just goes like a breeze. So you just have to be able to have that, what is it called, like that zeal for whatever you're doing. I think it's very important. Number 3, have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. Wow. You actually can do it. Like the fact that you actually got the idea in the first place means there's something that you can be able to accomplish with it. It might look so small, but trust me, it's never that small. To you, it could be small, but honestly, start researching on it and you'll find there's so many possibilities out there waiting for you. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, that is so inspiring. Thank you, Mary, for sharing that. I mean, really believing in yourself, because it is tiring. I think we can all agree. And today we are having a student entrepreneur focus. It's even twice, if not more, tiring to pursue entrepreneurship, among other things like going to school or working a full-time job or doing so many things in between. So I really salute your motivation, your determination to push and really take it one step at a time, but still working. And that's the journey, right? It's just a continuous work to improvement, to betterness, and growing a business and launching and really seeing everything unfolding in that journey. So thank you so much for being here with us. I'm just going to open the floor for questions. I will go in the chat and go through the question and see if we have something here. I'm probably sure there's probably a few questions here. I'll open up that here. Okay. Perfect. So I have one question here. How much importance would you attribute to creating a business plan? So I'll open it up for Tyler. Would you like to go with that?
Yeah, for sure. So I read the question as well, and you could put a lot of time into a business plan. Like you could spend weeks if you really wanted to. You could also probably do a basic one in a day. So to give yourself, I think, a bit of structure and just to have a business plan, because like Graham said, it's going to make you think of your business in ways that you probably haven't before. And when you could be, doing an action, doing a business plan still gives you some ideas of action you can take, which you might not have thought of otherwise. So I would say you would still want to throw a business plan together because there is value in it.
Okay. How about you, Graham? I know you are a strong advocate for business plan. What's your intake on that?
Strong advocate. So the phrase that comes to mind is a failure to plan is a plan to fail. I think that if you have a business idea, you want to do a feasibility study to find out, is this actually a good idea? And if it passes that, then you go on to the business plan. And that is actively starting. If you, every good idea you have, you kind of take those steps and do a bit of work to find out if it's feasible. Like, is there actually a good opportunity here, as opposed to just kind of charging in blindly and wasting your time or losing money. Also, business plan is essential if you want to get any sort of financing. No one's going to even entertain giving you money if you don't even have a plan. So it depends. If it's something that's on a smaller scale and there's no risk of failure if you fail, other than your time, then you may not need one. But if you want to have anything sort of on a higher level, and are risking your time or risking capital or want to get capital, then it's really critical.
That's great. And how about you, Mary?
I think I would echo whatever Graham said, because as much as I didn't believe in I didn't believe in business plan, because for the first business we never wrote a business plan. But now the fact that I wrote for Zuria, I realized the little details that we miss in the overall business, like making it visible is super important. And you actually get to understand so much about the market, the industry, your competitors, the financing aspect of it. I think it's very, very important. It might look like such a small thing, but it makes your life as a business much, much more easier, because you're able to understand so much details about your business. So I would definitely 100% advise for you to
That's
write.
great. Great advice. And I have a very good one here. Are there anything that changes, such as directions, business model during your journey? So did you change anything from your original idea to the current idea that you have now?
I think for me, I would just say, officially, I was never doing it as a subscription-based platform, but slowly we merged into it being a subscription-based, but still able to offer like single bottles. So for example, I was very strict when it came to like the subscription. I was like, yeah, we can just do the shampoo, the conditioner, the oil treatment in one particular box. But at the same time, I was like, for the other people, maybe you just need one product. So I can really make it accessible to everybody else. So I think that's the part that changed for me in particular.
That's good. How about you, Tyler? Did you change your business model, your revenue model a few times?
Many times. I first came to the idea in 2020, before the pandemic. And I was initially going to do in-person locations. And then COVID hit and completely changed everything. And an in-person business was not going to work. So I had to pivot to online. And then I've change the pricing structure and the business model and the types of therapists that I want onboarded and the website look. And it's been a constant change and growth, but getting feedback from different people and different stakeholders and people who would use it and adjusting to something that'll work. And excited to be there.
That's great. How about you, Graham?
Absolutely. There are areas that we're moving away from over the course of the business plan development, and areas that we discovered, greater opportunities. So, once again, sort of delving in deeper and doing that research, you get a better idea of whether something is not really worth the effort, and other areas that are an opportunity that you can focus more on. And so that process really helped us to, move away from certain things that were, not worth our time, and other ones that were worth pursuing harder.
Okay, that's good. I have a few questions. I know we passed, but I'm just gonna ask one more question, and then we are going to wrap up. How did you develop a price strategy to ensure your price is well? Like, how did you came up with your pricing, basically?
I'll jump in. So, and I think Janet asked that. I think we took marketing together, marketing management. And for myself, I kind of went back to, what we learned in that textbook, which is, your floor for pricing are your own costs. So you can't price something lower than what you're spending on it to make it or produce it. And then you're really just looking at your competition, and that's for the most part your ceiling, especially if it's a comparable product. And if it's not, there's lots of different areas that you can get into and different pricing models. So I think it's just it's cracking open that marketing management textbook again and looking at the different pricing models and kind of seeing where you are at in the market in terms of, which model you can follow, what makes sense.
That's good. How about you, Mary?
I think it's something similar as well. Also for me, it's like the advertisement aspect of it, the packaging, the ingredients. I think all of them put together, plus the market itself, like your competitors. I think that's how you kind of are able to find your pricing for your product.
That's good. And you, Tyler?
For me, it's been kind of focused on being competitive to get the mental health clinicians on board, because it's a competitive market to get clinicians. Therapists have a lot of different options of where they can go to work, who they can work for. And, pricing isn't just a kind of the reason that people work somewhere. There's a lot of other reasons too, but pricing ties into it. So how can I structure the pricing to really incentivize therapists to try out a brand new organization? Because, people don't know of my student well-being yet. It doesn't have that reputation. So the pricing is focused on, getting the therapists on board, because my business model is charging the therapists.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much. And again, I have a background in accounting and financial strategy, and I just love talking about pricing. I love talking about financial projections and cost analysis, and really how to come up with your price, and making sure that you are running a profitable business. Because at the end of the day, when you become an entrepreneur, yes, you have the fulfillment of seeing an idea coming to life, but there's also the financial reality of sustaining the business. So there's a few links here. Thanks, Melinda. If you want to book a meeting with me, just feel free to do so. And I would love to chat with you and see how I can support you in your journey. Graham, Mary, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned so much. I feel empowered, and I'm confident that anyone who was able to attend today is also feeling empowered in the journey. The webinar is recorded. It will be posted online for anyone to review. And we're just going to conclude for today. And thanks again. Don't forget to register for our next webinar in May 17th. And yes, I wish you a wonderful afternoon.